Hi everyone, I'm Bob D'Ambrosio from Kendale Products in Fort Erie. We're the Canadian distributor for Southern Pride smokers and for Broaster pressure fryers. In a previous video, we went through the prep of 4 of the most popular barbecue items: beef brisket, pork butts, chicken, and side ribs. Now that those are all prepped, off to my right, we're going to go into loading them into 2 of our under the hood roll-in smokers. The first of which being the SRG-400. It's a gas and wood fired non-rotisserie convection air smoker. And then we also have our electric only SC-300 Smoke Chef. This can hold 300 pounds of food. This can hold 400 pounds of food. We're going to be doing our smaller items, the ribs and the chicken, in the SC-300. And we're going to load our bulk items, the pork butts and the brisket, into the SRG-400. We'll start with our SC-300 Electric Smoke Chef. This smoker generates smoke using 2 smoker box elements. These are the chip boxes that slide onto the elements at the bottom of the unit. Each comes with 2, unless you option the steam function on the smoker, in which case you'd get 1 chip box and 1 steam pan. For today, we're going double smoke. We have a sample bag right from Southern Pride that came with the smoker, and it's a hickory chip sample. So we're gonna load up the boxes, and I'm just going to pour it in until we're happy with the level. I like to put right up to the top. Big fan of the smoke in here. We'll close the box. Do that times 2. Okay, close the lid. And now we can load them into the smoker. Door swings out of the way, and all they do is slide right on the elements. One on the right, one on the left, and those are ready to cook, just like that. Now for the SRG-400 wood loading process. I like to do this when the smoker is completely off and cold, and we do that by selecting a couple of fireplace-sized logs, supplied by us at Kendale in a 1-foot cubic bag. We have the wood cut to exactly 11.5 to 12 inches. If not, sometimes they're a little shorter, but we guarantee they always fit in the firebox of any Southern Pride unit. So I'm gonna grab these 2 for now, maybe a 3rd one for a bonus, and head over to the firebox on the 400. We open it just by lifting this heavy iron handle, swing the door open, and when we open it, we see inside the firebox, there's a burner head at the end that we really want to avoid hitting with anything. So there's nothing that should ever get thrown into the firebox. Everything can be placed gently. And a pro tip, when you're loading wood in a firebox, the further back you put it, the longer it's gonna last during the fire. So I'm gonna set it right back at the door, all 3 pieces. We're loaded up for a nice heavy cherry smoke on this one. So let's close it, shut her down, and the wood is loaded. Now that our wood's loaded, our smokers are prepped and ready to receive some food. So as I mentioned, we're gonna cook our ribs and our chicken in the Smoke Chef. Let's get those ready first. These have been spiced in a previous video. Check it out on our channel if you're interested. Now they're ready. They've been dry brining for a few hours. They're gonna be absolutely incredible. I like to have the racks of the unit already out of the smoker so that they're cold and they're clean, and we can set them over top of a sheet pan on our prep counter just to avoid a bit of a mess. And the way these St. Louis are, even baby backs, they fit really beautifully crossways on a rack. And I'm gonna do them just 4 at a time. So the first one near the back, the next one up against this halfway point. We'll do 1 more here and stop it with that one. This can go right into the Smoke Chef. I'm gonna open the door, get this loaded up, about midway in the smoker, leaving space for our chicken at the bottom. Our ribs are loaded. We have some chickens to load in. It's gonna be the exact same process, but let's have a look. We're gonna take our chicken that was previously in the fridge. It's been dry brining for a couple hours. It's looking absolutely unbelievable. And we're gonna take these spatchcock chickens very gently, and we're gonna lay them on the racks. So we'll do 4 per tray. Beautiful. Right in, and we're obviously gonna go chicken at the bottom. Okay, our meat's all loaded up in the Smoke Chef. We're gonna set up the controller really quick and get this thing fired up and cooking. Meat out of the way for now, that's for the other smoker. And here it is, our Smoke Chef in idle, ready to receive a program. Again, super simple. It's a little different than the SRG-400, but the buttons are just separated. So we'll start by setting our cook temperature. Our temp's already set to 245. I love that for ribs. If you did want to change it to something else, on the Smoke Chef, you have a slightly larger range than the other models in the model lineup. So you can go anywhere from 80 degrees up to 325. So cook temp, say we wanted 250, we would just go up to 250. But today we're going 245. For our ribs, the temperature's set. Our cook time is programmed through the cook time button. So 3 hours, 45 minutes. Our ribs will be about 3.5 hours. Give it about 15 minutes of heat up time. And then our hold temperature, this is the most amazing feature of all these smokers. If you're not there in time to pull the meat out, the smokers will drop down to this hold temperature, keep the meat safe and warm for you until you have time to come in and unload it. I love that feature. It takes the pressure off the cook and the schedule of the restaurant. So hold temps at 140. It's safe for ribs. Our chicken's gonna be done before the end of the cook cycle. We'll have to manually pull it out, so the hold temperature won't really apply to that. Now that our 3 parameters are set, we're gonna press start. And when we do that, the chips prompt comes up. If we press up, it means yes, we wanna burn chips. If you don't want to burn chips, you can just press down and it just runs as a regular convection oven with the main element up top, no smoker elements. I'm going to run both chip elements, so we'll leave it on 2. And then now it's time to press start, let this thing do its thing. This thing's fired up and I have to do nothing else to make this cook the perfect barbecue every single time. So those are tucked in, cooking. We'll come back in a few hours and see how they turn out. Back over to our meat here. I've got my counter set up with a couple organization items. Here's the racks that come right out of the SRG-400. I sit them on top of a sheet pan just for a little bit of drip control. And I have our meat that's already been spiced and trimmed in a previous video if you want to check it out. These are 2 of our middle trim AAA Canadian Prime actually briskets. I'm going to place these on the racks side to side just like that. And that's ready to go into the smoker. We just give it a good pull, opens right up. I'll start by putting these down near the bottom. Since we're not doing a full pit today, we don't have to worry too much about spacing. These can go in anywhere. There are 21 different slots inside the smoker where you can put the racks. It's all variable racking, so you can manage the thickness of your food and how much food you want to pack in there for one cook. All right, our brisket's loaded. Now it's time to load up our pork butts. These have been prepped and seasoned in a previous video as well. Feel free to check it out. These we can probably fit 3 on a tray. So we'll set it up just like that. We know that we're gonna have some shrinkage during the cook cycle. I'm allowing for a little bit of space between each pork butt just so that we can get maximum airflow, smoke penetration during the cook. There we go. And we'll go in with that. All right, we got our butts in there, we have our brisket in there. Time to shut her down and set up the control. The door is more or less self-closing just like that. And I'll keep the controller clean by taking the glove off my hand. The smoker's been plugged in and just kind of chilling for a little while, so it's in off. To wake it up, we just press start stop, brings it to idle. Idle means it's ready to receive a program. This smoker runs different than the other ones in the lineup. It has the same parameters, but it's accessed through 1 button instead of 3 different ones, and I'll show you what I mean. The manual menu is what gets you into, first of all, the temperature setting, and because we're doing butts and brisket overnight over a long form of time, we're going to drop the temperature to 205 degrees as opposed to a higher one for a shorter cook like ribs or chicken. So 205 is what I like overnight in this unit. We'll hit manual menu again for our time. I'm gonna go up to 12 hours, and once the 12-hour timer runs out, the smoker will either turn off or it'll go to a holding temperature. We control that by hitting this until we see H temp again through the manual menu button. Our H temp is our holding temperature. I like 140. If you don't want a holding temperature, you just press down from 140 and it turns off. But we can go anywhere from 140 to 325 for our holding temperature or our second stage. I like 140, like I said. Now we're ready to just press start and fire this thing up. And that's what we'll do. Okay, we have the SRG-400 fired up with some fresh cherry wood in there. We have brisket and butts cooking. They're gonna go 12 hours overnight while we go home and have a nice rest. We'll come in the morning, see how they turn out.